Hello all, and this has been forever. So yeah, I've had computer issues, so that's why not a lot of videos. So we're gonna do one big, massive, long video, which I know most of you don't like, but I don't like it. I wanted to talk about a lot of this stuff for a while, and just haven't had the chance. So I'm just gonna get right into it. There's a bunch of. Basically, I'm gonna do a bunch of reviews. So maybe it won't be too long because some of these I'll just kind of hash on, tell you what I like, because some people, it was a while ago. We'll start with ROH's All-Star Extravaganza, because I think that is the oldest one I wanted to talk about. I really like this show. And of course, coming out of it, I believe today Michael Elgin was able to come back in the States, but there was all sorts of drama with Michael Elgin. So Michael Elgin dropped the belt to Jay Briscoe. Still kind of unclear of where they're building towards a final battle, I would say, which should be interesting. But we had some, stuff was okay. We had Mark Briscoe versus Hanson, which was, I thought, okay. Wasn't anything mind-blowing or anything. Again, R.D. Evans and Moose taking on Ethan Gabriel, Ethan Gabriel Owens, Josh Alexander, Adam Page, and BJ Whitmer versus Caprice, Coleman, and Watanabe. This was much better than I thought it was going to be. Moose actually did some stuff I didn't expect him to do. He's still real green, and he's still, he's not by any just a straight and winner's guy, but he did stuff that made it entertaining, and he was able to be hidden in a match with this many guys, so that was alright. Then you had Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian taking on Roderick Strong and Jimmy Jacobs. This was good. Not as good as I had hoped it was going to be. Kind of fell flat, but there you go. Then you had AJ Styles and Adam Cole. This was awesome. Had a real slow build. You really got to see just how good AJ Styles is. It's pretty amazing to think that, just how much better he's gotten since he's left TNA. And people think I bash on TNA anyways, but it's very evident. And I hope that New Japan, we'll get this when I talk about the New Japan shows, that New Japan, what they have, because apparently they are going to have, it looks like, English commentary on the January 4th show, and it will be on regular pay-per-view, perhaps, it looks like. That people, at least check it out to see just how good AJ Styles has gotten, because it is fairly amazing. Then we had Jay Lethal versus Cedric Alexander. This was actually supposed to be Jay Lethal versus ACH, but he missed a flight. That was more drama about who missed what did what was it's kind of unclear on exactly what happened with him. I know apparently ROH isn't very happy with him though, so there you go. But this was good. This was when we found out we were gonna get this, I didn't know how good it would be, but this was pretty good. Then we had Jay Briscoe versus Michael Elgin, which had the oh shit, Jay Briscoe just won the title, which always kind of helps. It wasn't good, or it wasn't great, I wouldn't say, but it was very, 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 very good match. These two can, they just they don't meld all that great together. There was still, nothing taken away from this match. Then you had reDRagon taking on the Young Bucks in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This was awesome, what you would expect. Just really, really good, innovative stuff. And so, there you go. Really good show. Great show. Definitely, if you haven't checked it out, I'm sure most of you that would have checked it out already have. Definitely, I would say check that out. Then also we had the third NXT special, i.e., the 2-hour show, which was probably the weakest of the three, without a doubt. It wasn't very good at all. The wrestling really, really sucked. It was entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It was entertaining. It was one of those shows where the wrestling sucked in a lot of ways, but except for the main event. But it was entertaining at the same time. It was only 2 hours, and so it was that. But it wasn't a good show. It was a okay show, I would say, even though there was some stuff on here that was just ugh. You had the Lucha Dragons beating the Ascension. I mean, it was cool to see the titles change, but it was just kind of there. It's really hard for me to get into the Ascension. I get what they're supposed to be, but when Sin Cara looks almost as big as these guys, it kind of, I mean, what's going to happen when these guys go to the main roster? They're not. I don't know if they're going to be able to do a Road Warrior-esque type gimmick. Just saying. I had Baron Coleman taking on CJ Parker. There was nothing to this. Then we had a hair versus hair match, which was supposed to be, which was Enzo Amore taking on Sylvester Lefort. This was as well. This went on a while too, and it wasn't very good. Eventually, Lefort's, and I can't even remember the guy's name, kind of second, got his hair shaved with like a nair type stuff. It wasn't very good. The whole thing was just not. If you're going to do a stipulation, do the stipulation. There you go. Which similar to last year, for those of you aware, CMLL did a show where it looked like we were going to get Atlantis and I can't think of Guerrero. We were going to get that match at the anniversary show last year, and people didn't. People were pretty upset about it, and then they did it this year, Ultimo Guerrero, and I watched the CML show. I don't have a review of it, but I did watch it, and it was really, really good. I can't even think of the one of the underneath matches was pretty awesome. You just have to get over the fact that every match is 2 out of 3 falls. But after that, anyways, that match was awesome. That match was everything wrestling can be and should be, and all of this stuff. So there you go there. But guy lost. It was just a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. But anyways, there you go.
It was a squash. It served its purpose, but it was just kind of there again. It was just, Then we had Charlotte versus Bayley. This was pretty good. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as a lot of the NXT women's matches can be. I would even say probably on the TV. But there you go. Then we had the main event, and the main event was awesome. Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd versus Tyler Breeze. This was really good. This was great. Just craziness. Really set up the Neville versus Zayn program down the line without question. I think just enjoyable. I mean, it's probably it's what you want out of a match like this. Of course, this was also the show that Kenta debuted, and of course they changed his name. And it really makes you wonder, why would you change a guy's name after you've been hyping him up under his name? It felt kind of weird. But he did kick the crap out of the Ascension, which was kind of cool. And, spoilers, apparently he's going to team up with Prince Devitt versus the Ascension at some point, which I'm not going to bitch about that at all. So, or whatever Prince Devitt's name is, I can't remember. I guess we'll find out this week, because I think, is it this week? No, it's not this week's tape. I can't remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. But that was that. Now we're going to talk about something I never talk about, and there's a reason why I never talk about it. I don't like it, which is Evolve. But Evolve put on 2 shows back to back, which had Zack Sabre Jr. on it, which to me, and I said this on Twitter, is probably the most underrated guy over the last 3 or 4 years. And Markeem, Nightmare Baller 1, said, you need to add some years to that. This guy's really good. He wrestles in Noah, and with Noah's current situation, and he's a junior in Noah at that, he's very, very easy to be missed on. But he's awesome. He was one of the guys, I think I said this, and if I didn't, then who cares. But I believe when people were talking about, who Ring of Honor should bring in because they had lost all these guys, I brought up Prince Devitt, and then I doubted they would be able to bring in Prince Devitt because it was in New Japan, and Zack Sabre Jr. was another guy that I thought that they should bring in because he's that good. He's that good of a mat wrestler. He's everything that Ring of Honor fans were trained to think the top guy should be. So he's the guy I definitely thought they should bring in. So I did get both shows. Probably the first time. It's the first time I've well, I guess last year I bought. Did I buy game shows this year? WrestleMania weekend. I think I might have. I know I did last year, but anyways, uh, other than those shows, that's pretty much the only ones I think I've watched. But I did buy both of these. Both shows were really good. The Zack Sabre on Evolve 34, the Zack Sabre Jr. Timothy Thatcher match was great stuff. And it was very, very cool. It was match of the night without question. And then you had on Evolve 35, you had him taking on Biff Busick, which was another awesome match. Just really great. And actually, Evolve 35 is something I would say people should go out of their way to see, because it was pretty freaking great. Even if I don't like Evolve, that was a show to see without question. Just awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Then we had New Japan's last iPay-per-view. Perhaps on iPay-per-view, we'll see. There's kind of what's going on, which was the Destruction show in Kobe. And then they did one after this, which set up some stuff down the line for King of Wrestling, which looks like that's going to be an awesome, awesome card. Yeah, which of course will probably be the last major show that sets up the Tokyo Dome show. So there you go. Which they are calling Wrestle Kingdom, which will be interesting to see what we all get. Which probably means we will get some Ring of Honor guys, probably some NWA guys, and some other guys too. They'll spread it out and make it look like it's a bigger deal than probably what it really is. But anyways, the opener was the Young Bucks and Takaaki taking on Forever Hooligans and Ishii. This was good. Ishii's still hurt, you can tell, but this was just a fun little, the opening card, not anything amazing. You had Alex Shelley and Maximo and Bushi taking on Taichi, Desperado, and Taka Michinoku. This didn't lead to much, other than it'll probably lead to more down the line. It was a really quick DQ, and was just kind of there. Then we had Jushin Thunder Liger, Hanma, Kojima, and Tenzan taking on Nakanishi, Nagata, Tiger Mask, Captain New Japan. The big thing about this was Hanma got a win. Yes, he got the pin on this, which was really cool. It was kind of a cool moment. Match was pretty good. Not great, but yeah, there we go. Then we had Yano and Sakuraba taking on Suzuki and Iizuka. If you took out the Yano and the Iizuka stuff, and it was just Sakuraba and Suzuki, this probably would have been really, really fun. But that's not what we got. So it was just kind of okay. It looks like they're building up for Suzuki versus Sakuraba at the Dome. I'm all about that. That's something when the first tag, when they first started kind of doing these tags with these guys, that was where I was hoping this was going. I think that could be a really fun match. It looked like the Sakuraba and Suzuki stuff was fun to see. So there we go. Then we had the junior title match. Kushida taking on Taguchi. With Taguchi winning, which was kind of a surprise, but it was a great match. It was a lot of fun, and there you go. Then we had Kota Ibushi and Naito taking on Tama Tonga and AJ Styles. This wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, but it was still a lot of fun. So there you go. Then we had Okada and Yoshihashi taking on Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. This again wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be, but it set up a lot of stuff down the line. Okada and Carl Anderson had a match after this, so there you go. Then we got into, then we had Makabe taking on Hiroto Goto, and this was great. Definitely something to go out of your way to see. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Then we had Shibata taking on Tanahashi. I really, 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 really liked this match. This was awesome. I didn't like the ending because I really felt like they shouldn't have done the shake hands thing. I think there still should have been some friction there. This was a match I was hoping we were going to get at the Tokyo Dome, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. Which kind of maybe Tanahashi wins the title at King of Tokyo or King of Wrestling, and then it's him and Okada again. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I guess. But, yeah. And then Nakamura versus Bad Like Fale, where Nakamura won the title back, which probably means that, you know, we'll get, we might be getting Shibata versus Nakamura at the Dome. If that's the case, okay, I'm fine with that. But there you go. So there's that. Then we have Night of Champions. Yes, I did not like this show as much as others liked it. I know some people really like the shows. I did not like this show that much. It had some really good stuff on it, but it just felt like it was lacking. Probably because I just wasn't into the show going in, so that probably kind of hurt it. You had the Usos and Goldust taking on Stardust, or Usos taking on Goldust and Stardust. Match was pretty good. Wasn't as good as I had hoped. I know some people really liked this match. I was just kind of like there, and the ending did nothing for me, so there you go. You had Sheamus Cesaro. This was very, very, very good. I'd love to see these guys, you know, get like something with even more time, actually. Just really enjoyed that. Dolph Ziggler versus Miz was just not very good. You had Georgia, Florida County Line, or Georgia, Florida Line, or whatever their name is, out there for commentary for no real reason, and just all sorts of the match was not very good. Then you had Seth Rollins coming out because Roman Reigns, of course, was hurt, and he demanded that, you know, he be declared the winner, which he was, and then he said, you know, I know you guys are, you know, you want to see me wrestle, blah, 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 so I'll take on anybody in the back, and a cab showed up, and yes, you know who showed up, and it was awesome, and it was very, very awesome. Dean Ambrose kicked his ass all over the place. People came out back. It was a really awesome segment without really giving a match, but it was a great segment, so there you go. We had Mark Henry versus Rusev. This was not as good as I would hoped it would have been, but and the booking on it was kind of to me. Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton. Some people really loved this match. I didn't. I really felt it was just kind of there. I was bored for it for most of the time, so there we go. Then we had Paige and AJ Lee versus Nikki Bella. This was okay. Not as good as I think Paige and AJ could have been. They gave them a lot of time, and it was mostly Paige and AJ, so there you go. Then we had Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. This was good. The ending hurt it. The fact that, you know, John Cena almost beat Brock Lesnar, and then Seth Rollins came out, got the DQ, tried to beat Brock Lesnar, couldn't beat Brock Lesnar, whatever. Brock Lesnar's still champion, so that's good, but, you know, I firmly believe, and this is what and I know Roman Reigns is going to be out for a while, so maybe that will be off the case, because maybe he'll come back now, and people will be really excited, and he can go off this, and his push will feel a little bit more organic. But anytime the company really gets behind somebody, and the push is kind of forced, I think because of matches like this, how they do John Cena, I think it hurts when they do that, because people are so sick of John Cena, they don't want to see anybody with a forced push. And anytime they even get a hint that it's a forced push, they start to, you know, they don't get as behind the guy as much as they probably should. And I think that's a huge, huge, huge mistake. So there you go. You know, and then there was King of Trios too. And I'm not going to do a review of King of Trios. I've seen King of Trios. I didn't like it very much. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it was there. You know, I've always talked about King of Trios and how much I love King of Trios and how I'd love to go see King of Trios. And this was actually a year in which I almost actually went to go see King of Trios live. And I'm so glad I didn't, because I'd have been so disappointed. You know, and I don't usually talk up, it's kind of weird. I don't usually talk up Battle of Los Angeles, because while the wrestling is usually good to great, there's usually that one night in Battle of Los Angeles, and there's usually stuff in Battle that happens that just annoys me, and I just don't enjoy the shows. My buddy Brian, next big thing, he actually flew out from New York to see Battle of Los Angeles, because there was a lot of hype behind this show. It looked like they may finally kind of embrace the fact that this needed to be more than just their biggest tournament. It needed to be a giant event. It kind of felt like that going in. I kind of was really excited. You know, I don't really get excited about PWG shows, but they announced Zack Sabre Jr., and I got excited. And people who follow me on Twitter were like shocked that this is the guy I would get excited about, because most of them hadn't heard of him, and I said, this guy is awesome. And he actually got apparently mad over on the show. So I am looking forward to seeing those shows when I got there, but usually I always say that I think King of Trios is a bigger deal, and I always feel like it is a bigger deal. Often, in both tournaments, I think, and this is one of the things I would really love to see, and you kind of saw this with Battle Los Angeles, but not really. There needs to be a big, major tournament, indie-style tournament that not only, that gets people's attention and allows guys kind of unheard of, or guys who maybe, you weren't really sure of, or maybe you've heard of, but not, where they really make a breakout star for, the indies. And really, since the Ted Petty tournaments ended with IWA Mid-South going, whatever they did. Really haven't had that. The Ted Petty tournament, that was the great thing about it. It was this big, giant tournament. You got to see all these guys, and there was always one or two breakout guys from those tournaments. And I think that it's really, really missing. I would throw, wish Gabe would do something like that too, where you brought in guys and you just really tried to elevate and make some new indie stars. And I think that's really, really missing, in my opinion. So Brian went out. He said the shows were great. He really talked them up, and he is a lot like me. He's not as enamored with PWG as a lot of other people are. So, and to PWG's credit, and to the fans out there credit, Brian, if you ever heard, I think me and him have done one or two videos on here before, and he's talked about ECW. He actually went, during ECW's run, he lived in New York, would take the bus ride or drive down to ECW Arena, saw those shows live, knows what that environment was like, and said that was the most, when he went out to Reseda, that was the most ECW-like feel he's ever felt since ECW went away. So props off to them. Really made me jealous that he went out there and I didn't. But there was that. Then you had King of Trios. And like I said, I always talk up King of Trios because I love King of Trios. I love the idea of King of Trios. People always kind of, have gotten up because, they're like, well, you like Chikara, but you don't really, you'll say great things about Chikara, but you don't really recommend Chikara. And it's always like, because I don't think it's necessarily everybody's cup of tea. I think people will enjoy it, but I think King of Trios is the one thing I can go, hey, this is something, there's something on here that you will go, okay, and you'll get kind of a taste of Chikara. And this show, these shows they didn't live up to the hype, for one thing. They started announcing teams, and they announced the Spirit Squad, which was kind of cool. I mean, it was kind of the Spirit Squad, and I like Ken Doan a lot. I think Kenny, I think he's a guy that just goes underutilized, in my opinion, but that's just me. And so I was kind of cool with that. And then they started announcing the other teams, and there was just nothing there. And it was primarily Chikara-esque type teams. And then, of course, we had LAX, which that was kind of cool. But, I mean, that's not kind of what people are expecting. They're expecting more teams like LAX. But, and so that first night just isn't very good at all. And I think if you're a fan of Chikara, I'm sure fans of Chikara really enjoyed the first night because there were a lot of storyline stuff, and that's cool and all, but I think even the handling of the storyline stuff wasn't very good, particularly the Jigsaw thing. I think the Jigsaw thing needed to play out. I think you need to start getting hints of the Jigsaw thing here, because you're going to have more eyes watching this. I understand that, seeds before, but this is kind of where you really kind of show the seeds, and then you prolong it a little bit, and I don't think they did a good enough job there. Night 2 was much better, given the High Flyers tournament and the guys that were in the High Flyers tournament. That was a much better show, mainly because of that. You also had some fun with Spud. You had the battle for the bow tie match, and you had Yoshitatsu was also in a singles match. So you had that stuff, and that stuff was fun. And that stuff was fine. And then again, you had more storyline stuff, which is fine. Again, that's fine. I get that, but I think this is your biggest show. You have to be aware that you're not just going to have your diehards watching. And this was definitely, I think, of a diehard watching this, because I heard a lot of diehards say, you know, they enjoyed the show, but they got that it wasn't probably what Chikara really needed. They needed, you know, you need shows like this have to deliver, and these 3 days I don't think delivered the way they needed to. Night 3 was good too, but again, not great, and it was just, you know, just kind of all there, and it feels very. The announcer, you know, I don't know. It's everything that's going on. There needs to be better communication between Chikara and the fans, particularly the people that don't follow it as closely, of explaining really kind of what's going on and what's, you know, doing better, and that's where the announcing comes in. And usually Chikara's very good at doing that, and they just didn't come across, and just didn't work. But anyways, I think that's it. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, Mark Hunt won. Title shot. Please give me a title shot. I don't care if he gets toasted by Kane in like 30 seconds. Really don't. I just want him to have a title shot. Much rather that than him taking on Josh Barnett. My heart can't take. No. My heart can't take that. No. But anyways, enough about that. Anyways, that is that. So I've talked long enough. You guys have a good one. Later.